I want to talk about achieving success with progressive lenses,
Okay.
progressive lens technology. So you sell progressives.
Yes.
Any issues?
Just the peripheral.
Just the peripheral. So I think that that's in fact the common comment, right? And as good as we do, we continually want to try and do better. So we get feedback. And here I'm talking about VSP. VSP produces, places lots and lots of pairs of progressive lenses. Have a seat.
Speak a little louder.
Okay.
Always keep it right there.
Okay. Got it. Welcome. Good morning. So this is a talk about upgrading progressive lenses in your practice. And the easy way to do that is to change the progressives you're using and to upgrade the technology that's in fact part of those lenses. And so where does this upgrade and why is there a change to technology? Well, in the office, as Deanna said, I always have customers telling me that the periphery is not perhaps as clear as they'd like it to be. Do you have other issues for progressives people tell you about?
Reading zone is too small.
Sometimes the reading zone is too small. Sometimes they tell you, how come it's clearer on this side than this, right? Okay, so there's lots of feedback. But that feedback really drives innovation and R&D. And the reason that there are constant introductions for new technologies and new progressives is because of this kind of feedback. Because if your patients aren't happy, you're not happy. When you're not happy, the supplier for your products actually isn't happy. So they constantly spend money to create new designs to improve patient success. If you are more successful, office efficiency goes up. If you're more successful, your revenue goes up. If you're more successful, it changes who you are, your own professional identity. And that's really a critical part of feeling good about and choosing vendors. Because if you have a vendor who always gives you a problem, you stop using that vendor. And it usually doesn't take more than 2 or 3 pairs of glasses and you're done with them. So we still know that there are reading and binocularity issues with progressive lenses. I know I'm a progressive lens wearer for a long time. I wear a 250 ed, and if that 250 ed is not really correct and in the right place, I really can't read because I have no reserve of accommodation myself. We have it as our advantage today, this improved computing technology. And what do we do with computing? 1, it helps us design the lens to begin with. 2, it helps us then drive the machines that cut that design on lenses today. And today, because I cut lenses in freeform or digitally surface them, I cut individual surface heights all across the lens. If I can do that, I can actually design the lens based on the errors that I know for that prescription and take out virtually all those errors. Now, I can't take out the error of bending the lens to give an ad, but I can get rid of most of all the errors. And so for progressives now, and hasn't it been true, that as you migrated from traditional or standard progressives to digital progressives, digitally surfaced freeform progressives, optimized designs, aren't your patients telling you they're happier? So that change should be indicative then of you are constantly making changes and constantly upgrading. Because this technology actually allows us to now redesign and have me talk about another new design. So we want to improve the ease of use of progressive lenses for you. And we want it to meet individual needs. What does it mean by individual? It's made for the wearer. It's made for their monocular PD and monocular fitting height. Because everybody is really asymmetric. And so we fit progressive lenses exactly that way. We make now lenses for the chosen frame. So we're optimizing it for the way the frame fits. And you know that if you can take a pair of glasses and you change the angles, you change the way it sees. So that's called effective power. So if I can make the effective power of the glasses, the way they see, equal to the prescription, and I can make it equal to the prescription, virtually equal, everywhere in its path. Everywhere the eye turns, sideways, down and out, then I can make a lens that sees better. I can make a lens with larger, clear fields of view, and when that happens, the patient says a very simple thing: I see better. That's what optimization, that's what freeform, that's what digital in the right application does. I also want to improve arm's length vision today. Why? Because so much of our world is mobile. So that also means that it makes me think about the way in which I design the surface of this progressive. I want it to be arm's length, I want it good for reading distance, but I also want it for general use, for the way in which I move. I want it for the way in which I use mobile devices. I want it for me. Now, I'm a bit vertically challenged. If I was much taller, I would actually have longer arms. And I actually would hold things further away. And so the way in which we design today actually is much more personalized and individualized, because I can take and incorporate into that lens design all of these characteristics. So what happens when the patient gets it? I'll love them. I kiss you face, right? That's really what we want. So if I can just put on my glasses and they work for me, then I get away from all the kinds of issues that I might have. Easier said than done, right? So you have to ask the right questions, because to understand this, you sort of have to ask what your pain is. If I have a certain amount of pain in the way in which I wear glasses, I don't see as well out to the side perhaps as your patient tells you, then if you understand that, you can then say, would you like me to fix that? I can fix it. It costs a bit more. But if you actually equate it to something that this person is having difficulty with, then it has value. And when it has value, they will spend more. You are exactly the same way. When you go in to buy something and a salesperson convinces you that there's value in this more expensive product that you had no intention of buying, you say, I'll take it, cash or charge. Right. So, ask patients, you have to have this set of questions that just rolls out of your mouth. If there was something we could do to improve the lenses that you're now using, what would that be? Is it close vision? Is it you only want one pair of glasses, you can only afford one pair of glasses? I wanted to do the best of all of it in general. Will it do one thing really great? If they're nearsighted, they really want distance vision, right? If they're a hyperope, they really like to have good reading, because they're really disadvantaged just in the design of progressive lenses, right? Plus, lens is magnified, less of it fits in the window of the frame. And so we want the best possible design. Digitally creating these surfaces in the right kind of design where you're thinking about that allows us to design differently for myopes, emmetropes, and hyperopes. And it allows us to design differently for the 125 ad versus the 250 ad. Because all of us wear lenses differently, but there are power differences that make it very specific to us. A myope, I don't converge as much as a hyperope does. And so the reading zone needs to be actually in different places. The computing power of the lens will place it there and make that choice on behalf of the patient, on your behalf. And for different activities. What if it's driving? What if it's outdoors? How many of you want to take that progressive and put it in a wrap prescription pair of glasses? And if you put it into an 8 base, it's going to be very different. Not if it's properly designed. And so that person can wear that 8 base RX and have it wear exactly the same as their flat glasses wear. And we can do that because of this computing technology. So, ask yourself, does the current first choice progressive? First choice. All of you typically in an office have a first choice progressive. It's your go-to. It tends to work and you are successful with it for the majority of people. Does your first choice progressive deliver the kind of opportunities in your practice now that you want. For ease of use, ease of lab, for everybody's staff preference. Do you have people in the office that have, one person has a favorite here, another person has a different favorite? Does it cause then issues in your office of, when you look at the billing, how different is your average sale price? And so one of the goals, not just in making people read better, is how do we make a product that actually fits more people in the office, fits more patients, but really fits more staff? How do we get the optician, the para-optometric, the person making this critical decision about which lens to use to have an easier time and to know you're going to be successful? So you have to ask this patient what could be better about these lenses. And once you identify those, what? You're not asking those questions? So I claim for this course, for changing progressives, that 1, you should be upgrading. 2, you should be changing progressives as new progressives are introduced. And how do you know which one to choose? You have to ask the right questions. And those are questions you ask of yourself, of your patients, of the business manager in your office. When you look at the dollars, because it's average sell price, it's revenue, it's your cost of goods, but then is it how happy is everybody in the office selling these products, and how happy are all the patients? And then, if you really did a good job, they come back to you. If you don't do such a good job, they look for somewhere else. And in spectacles now, about half of that audience is going to go somewhere else next time. So it's really up to you. It's the experience, it's not the transaction. It's their experience. So in part, it's the questions. It's the how bold a frame will you wear and choose? How beautiful a color is it to put on that fuchsia color frame, right? It's exactly what it is. So as sparkly, imaginative, provocative you can do in a frame, what can you do in a lens? Because the lens, inside it's hidden, it's technology. To read with my right, my left eye, I have to turn my head. How can I make that better? Are you satisfied with your statistics? As I said, are you making money? If your office is making money, you'll make more money. And the morale of the office goes up. How do you do that? By choosing the best products. So for us, if I represent VSP in this talk and Unity Via as a progressive, how do I define what that should be? It means that then I'm going to take and look at these kinds of feedback, the discomfort or dissatisfactions, and I'm going to work on the dissatisfactions. I'm going to accept and try to keep all the things that people like, but I'm going to work on the particular dissatisfactions. And we create a well-defined lens trialing in which we ask the patient, not which is bigger, but is it better than what you expected? Because that's really what they're paying for. And if you can deliver a pair of glasses that you say to them, I think this will be better than what you might expect. When we exceed someone's expectations, it's always better. Right? So lens trialing helped us do that. And we also have to design for the less experienced optician or dispenser in the office. And so that also means very particular issues around frames. So if I look at the way your frame fits, whatever your name is, Missy. So Missy's eyes are narrow within the centers of the frame, which is most people. So I have to decenter the lenses. The height of the, you're not old enough for progressive, so the height of the lenses, right, are a certain particular height. I have to design it based on the shape of the frame. So can you stand next to me, Missy? All right, so this shape is very different nasally than the shape I'm wearing, right? And if I were to put on a P3 or rounded kind of shape, that would be different. What if I had an aviator shape? If I had an aviator shape, wouldn't the near zone be in a different place? So what we ought to be able to do in computing power is actually understand the shape and ensure a certain amount of reading based on the decentration where the eye is looking and the angle that it looks, and then fill in the rest for the corridor. And that's exactly what new computing power allows. And in this instance, in Unity Via, there is a separate calculation done around lens shape. And what does that mean for the office? It means that less experienced dispensers, in fact, if there was a poor frame choice, or if there's confusing corridor length decisions that the office has to make, this product actually makes the right decisions because it does the full analysis of what's happening in the way in which the particular frame shape fits you on behalf of the office, the optician. Right? So, I want you to think about upgrading. I want you to think about changing to a new progressive. Why? Because we do things better. We look constantly at the problems and we fix things. I want you to think about Unity Via. It's a natural evolution of the Unity designs. It uses technology to simplify these corridor choices and the design and shape relative to, regardless of what the frame shape is. It allows you to ask the patient that same question. If there was something I can do to make this better, what would you like me to do? And so these lenses, in fact, address correct reading position, instant satisfaction when you're on. Now, does that happen with everybody? That's impossible. If I change your prescription, you have to learn how to see through those lenses again. Changes the size and shape of your world. You learn to see that right away. But if I place everything in a progressive in the right place, first time, you sure have an easier time. Tell patients your plan here invests in constant improvement. And it's the reason that you are a participant in managed vision care, in having this insurance. It takes care of all the basics, and it researches and provides better products for you. And it's available in a variety of the categories, so that there's also I always deal with a budget for a patient. Because frankly, if I can get them into prescription sunglasses and a primary pair of glasses, they're much better off. And once they have that second pair of glasses, they really understand the advantages. So I use the categories to manage the way in which I offer products and the options. So, summarizing, here's a new progressive. Most of you nodded with me for all the kinds of things that we deal with fitting progressives. Not enough reading area, blurry on the sides, how come one eye sees better than the other? Well, if I can do and individualize these lenses, I can make better solution. Where a feedback helps me drive exactly what to do, I test it with lots of patients and make those designs. In fact, this design went through almost thinking of a launch, but there were some things that still could be fixed. It was pulled back and finally relaunched. There is here statistically significant wearer confirmation of the choices that were made to, yes, I can just put them on and I like them, and they behave better than I expected. I'm happy to spend the amount of money I'm spending, and that's really an important part of our business. And the result is a new design series. Better reading, better binocularity, both eyes working together, and overall progressive lens satisfaction. That's what I'm after. Effortless vision for the patient and easier for you to use, because the decisions, these sophisticated technology decisions, are being incorporated into the lenses. So, distance, mid-range, intermediate, off to the side, tablet, short person, short arms, tall person, tall arms. Progressives now with technology, Unity Via can produce a better solution. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.